What's going on, guys? Danny here from Metal Couch bringing you a new album review, and today we're going to be taking a look at and discussing the new Death album by Dethklok, Dethalbum 3. Now, I had a request a few months back to do Dethalbum 1 and 2, and once I got done doing those, my general opinion of them was Dethalbum 1 was pretty freaking sweet. It had a nice blend between the metal aspect being showing great musicianship, and it also kept in spirit of the show by also having some comedic value to it. And then going into Dethalbum 2, my problem with it was that Brendan Small was trying to take Dethklok too seriously. Um, completely removing the comedy element and all that other jazz. Well, with the Dethalbum 3, it it doesn't do the same bad thing that the Dethalbum 2 did, which was take itself too seriously. Dethalbum 3 is a lot more laid back, and it keeps more in the spirit of Dethalbum 1, with track titles like I Ejaculate Fire, Crush the Industry, Kill Stardo, Abominate, Biological Warfare, Starved, The Galaxy, Andromeda, all of these other songs on this album. It definitely identifies more with the first one than the second one, which is great. I didn't enjoy the second one too much, so to hear that the Dethalbum 3 was a lot better in that aspect was a big plus in my book. Now, running down through these tracks, um, I there are tracks on here which are not appealing whatsoever, and then there are also tracks which are just flat out awesome. I Ejaculate Fire, Sky Hunter, Biological Warfare, uh, Andromeda, The Galaxy. Those are some pretty awesome songs on here. Then you have songs like The Hammer, which are just, they sound boring. They don't really go anywhere. Sadly, you kind of get a bit of a mix with this. So there's a lot of filler in this album. But when you get to an awesome track, which my personal favorite off of this album is Sky Hunter, which displays some nice harmonious lead lines with a fantastic riff underneath, it really does show that Mr. Small has taken the criticism from Dethalbum 2, which I heard about and even spoken about for quite a long time, and sort of improved on that formula. Of course, when he released Galacticon, I think it was earlier this year, or maybe late last year, I don't quite remember how long ago that was, I did not give that one a positive review at all because I didn't like it at all. It sounded extremely bland to me and uninteresting. But with the Dethalbum 3, I'm glad that he really hasn't tried to incorporate any of the stuff from Galacticon in here, which he said he wouldn't, that Dethklok and Galacticon would be two separate entities. So with that being said, songs on this are really hit and miss. You're either going to find a song that you're really going to like, or you're going to find a song where you're just going to go like, this is flat out boring. I wouldn't say that I hate any tracks on this album, because there really aren't anything, there aren't any tracks on here that just make me want to punch a TV screen or something. Um, and going in through the production, not much has changed from the past Death albums. It seems to just be the same style of production. I don't really approve too much of the production design of the Death albums, but it's something I can look past because there's nothing out there that just flat out annoys me. There's nothing about it. It's a very clean, tame production. And I think that maybe if Mr. Small would one day try to do something different with the production, I don't think it would make all of the fans of Dethklok go, "Oh my God, he's changed something with the album. We don't like this." I think it would benefit in terms of the production. It's just that the guitars sound really tame unless it's a lead line or a solo or anything like that. Other the backing riffs just sound um, not because of how they're constructed, but because of how they are mixed. They sound really faint and weak, and at least with that being said, it helps bring out the drums a little bit more, which I noticed on this album compared to the older ones for some reason. The drums are really highlighted on this album, and the drumming is really good. So my final thoughts on the Dethalbum 3 are, it's a hit and miss album. It's going to be one of those things where people either really love it or really hate it. And even with that being said, the people who love it will probably only have maybe about half the tracks on the album they really enjoy. My personal favorite, as I've stated before, is Sky Hunter. Probably probably one of the better releases this year, definitely. I really haven't found too much stuff this year to review, so having the Dethalbum 3 coming out like this, it was nice. A nice way for me to segue into getting back into reviews, even though I'm in the middle of a discography review. Dethalbum 3 is definitely worth a listen. Whether or not it warrants a flat-out physical copy purchase, that'll be up to you. Personally, I don't think that this is an album I'm going to purchase just because of how much of the tracks I didn't enjoy on this album. So, final score for the Dethalbum 3, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. So, that's all I've got for this. Danny here from Metal Couch, signing off.